Given that Diddy's henchmen appear to be pursuing Terrence Howard, it appears that he may have taken on more than he can handle. Yeah, additionally, it doesn't look well. You all understand how Terrence recently came forward to say that Diddy attempted to make advances on him and that he had to correct him by explaining that he doesn't engage in those kinds of games. Terrence has apparently been receiving a lot of hate mail and threats from Diddy's henchmen. As you are all aware, Diddy is going through a very trying time in the media right now. His trial is scheduled to begin in a few weeks, so let's just say that this is the last thing he needs. It also appears that his team may be going to great lengths to keep Terrence quiet. Homeboy's prepared to get down and dirty with them. So, you know Terrence isn't the person you want to play with like this. It's a heated mess, girl. Let's put an end to this drama. Every time we believe that the Diddy situation cannot possibly shock us anymore, child, something new happens that makes us all shudder. Many people have accused Diddy of essaying them, making passes at them, placing paws on them, and other similar actions during the past year and a half. A lengthy legal battle and a federal inquiry that resulted in Cassie's imprisonment began. With his lawsuit, numerous other celebrities have also been impacted by his fall from popularity because a long list of them have been charged with being complicit in his antics. Even while there isn't any proof linking superstars like Jay-Z and Beyonce to Diddy's antics, fans are certain that they were aware of some of his actions. Then there are famous people like Keela Gooden Jr., who were sued for allegedly engaging in certain activities at Diddy's parties. And let's not forget the incredibly extensive list of famous people who have been charged with going to Diddy's freak-offs. Yes, you get the idea. Nevertheless, Terrence Howard's allegations that Diddy attempted to approach him were still somewhat startling. He claims that Diddy made no effort to conceal the fact that he purportedly desired to have a close relationship with Terrence, if you get what I mean.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to, that's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach and you threaten to punch them in the mouth or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man.
Terrence also claimed in the same interview that Diddy supposedly dehumanizes black men at these freak-offs.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire.
It's interesting to note that Terrence has previously criticized influential figures in the field for purposefully dehumanizing black guys. Terrence was among the first to support Cat Williams when he appeared on Club Shay Shay discussing the same topic. He stated, "My father taught me to never take the vertebrae out of your back or the base out of your throat. I am raising sheep, I raise men. Remain a guy. Because everything is androgynous and society was not created for men to thrive. Being a guy is a misfortune. The more successful men these days are the effeminate ones, Additionally, he claimed that the individual had been demonized. The majority of males are designed to be effeminate under the new formula, losing their strength and power. They let white guys be strong. But when it comes to black males, they are viewed as a threat. I don't want to take away some chromosomes to match someone's tail. Therefore, I think they should broaden their narratives to let men be men and also value women's beauty. You have to wonder what in the world Diddy was thinking when he attempted to put moves on him, given the type of person Terrence is, and how he has been calling out the industry for this kind of behavior. However, Diddy also attempted to take 50 Cent shopping and allegedly put moves on him, despite the fact that everyone knows how much 50 despises Diddy. Diddy probably doesn't give a damn about that stuff. In any case, Terrence's remarks could not have arrived at a worse moment for Diddy. Diddy's trial is scheduled to begin in May, and jury selection will begin in just 2 weeks. The last thing he wants is for his alleged crime to be widely discussed online. Once more, the charges against him are far more serious than most people understand. He has other civil lawsuits, but the federal case is a significant one. He faces a minimum of 15 years in prison and life in prison on the charge. Since his formal arrest in September 2024, he has been incarcerated. His attorneys have made numerous unsuccessful attempts to have him released on bail. Prosecutors presented a strong case for Diddy's denial of bail, citing concerns that if he is freed on bond, he may intimidate witnesses and impede the case. Additionally, prosecutors claim that Diddy has the resources and money to pose a flight risk. Additionally, the feds claim that when he was caught, he had what looked to be drugs in his hotel room. Now, keep this section in mind, but we'll go over it again shortly. Who could demonstrate the gravity of the situation? In a frantic attempt to secure his release, his attorneys even put his property up for sale. Diddy offered $50 million in an attempt to demonstrate that he wasn't a flight risk. Diddy's attorney reportedly suggested bail on these terms, a $50 million bond that Sean Combs co-signed. His mother, his sister, the mother of his 3 grown sons, and his eldest daughter. Additionally, he suggested using the equity in Mr. Combs' home at 2 West Star Island in Miami, Florida, as security for the bond. The house is estimated to be worth $48 million. The house is free of burdens. Mr. Combs paid up the remaining $18 million in his mortgage in advance of this bail hearing on August 20th, 2024, so that the house could be utilized to obtain a bond and be mortgage-free. The document also stated that the bond would be secured by the equity of Mr. Combs' mother's house, which is located at 450 Alton Road in Miami, Florida, and that Mr. Combs' travel would be limited to the Eastern District of New York, or the District of New Jersey, only to the extent that his travel to and from New York involves an airport in those districts, as well as the Southern District of Florida and the Southern District of New York for court meetings with his counsel and medical appointments, which we will submit to the court in a separate sealed submission. In an attempt to obtain bail, he even produced his mother's and daughter's passports. But the courts rejected his request. This dad even offered up the baby's passport, but the courts didn't want any of it, so we knew right then and there how serious things were going to get. Therefore, it's not shocking that his henchmen are treating this seriously. Speaking of his henchmen, you may recall that the prosecution expressed concern that should Diddy be released on bond, he would threaten witnesses. After Terrence Howard claimed that Diddy had made advances on him, people are now certain that he may have been threatened. Fans were certain that Terrence was hinting at his receiving threats from people in a recent video that he released. You sort of get the idea when you put 2 and 2 together.
Once upon a time, if a man questioned another man's honor, he didn't do it from the shadows. He had to do it out in the open, with his name, his chest out, and his chin high. Not hiding behind the keyboard or tucked behind editing clips of fair use disclaimers. You see, citing 107 of the Copyright Act does not give you free rein to defame, misrepresent, or harm others' reputation. Fair use is not a shield for character assassination. So here's the simple truth. If you take my words, my image, my ideas, and twist them to feed your fear and inflate your ego, if you profit off of my name while calling me a liar, then be prepared to stand behind your accusations. Because in the old world, men didn't hide behind anything when they spoke against someone. They had to speak it with their whole being. And if you're going to speak against me, then use the same courage that it took for me to say those truths. Man to man, eye to eye, integrity and in truth. I've spent a lifetime earning the right to speak with the conviction about these truths that I speak. So if you want to tear that down, have the decency to come and say it directly to my face. And say it like a man. If you're going to talk about the geometry, have other geometries to argue against it. If you're going to talk about the supersymmetry, speak of other supersymmetries that would work against it. If you're going to talk about the white papers, provide your own white paper as an argument to argue against the equations or the conclusions. But we're going to do this respectfully, otherwise we'll end in a duel. And I mean a duel, real life duel, where only one person walks away.
Teenager Terran didn't show up to play, and just so he included the hashtag #ManCard, making it obvious that he was alluding to the Diddy incident. Fans are here for his bravery and have stated that he is subtly revealing the methods Hollywood employs to manipulate the narrative of who is and is not elite. Yes, that man is not afraid of anything. I think the true ones will admire you for your integrity and self-respect. Therefore, never compromise either. I'm shaking my head. And many entertainment business leaders are abusing their power to exploit weaker individuals. However, I'd like to know what you guys think of this, so please leave a comment and watch this following video.